Jim Jordan and his fellow MAGA Republicans embarrassed themselves today in the House of Representatives. During a Judiciary Committee hearing, Democrats Eric Swalwell and Adam Schiff were able to get under Jim Jordan's skin and draw him out for a debate. That's pretty rare. Republicans usually don't take the bait, but this time Jim Jordan couldn't resist and he got hot and bothered under the collar. These kind of back and forths don't happen very often in the House of Representatives, so I'm excited to show you guys the clips. It's all coming up right now. The Judiciary Committee hearing in question was just a chance for Republicans to pretend that they're doing actual work. What it was for was to hold a private citizen in contempt of Congress. The man in question is named Mark Zwanitzer, and he's a ghostwriter who worked with Biden on his 2 previous memoirs. Republicans claim he won't turn over documents and other materials related to his private conversations with Joe Biden. Why the Republicans want this material? Nobody knows. But Mark Zwanitzer said it's not his decision to make. It's between the White House and Congress. And lo and behold, Jim Jordan and his gang have not reached out to the White House to try to work it out. And that's where Democrats came in and called out Republicans for all their hypocrisy. Starting with Eric Swalwell, he unloaded on the Republicans.
If the MAGA impeachment investigation was a missing person, we'd all have Amber Alerts on our phones a long time ago. I'll yield to anyone who'll tell me when you're bringing your impeachment vote. If anyone wants to tell me, because you promised the American people you were going to impeach President Biden. So bring it. I'll yield. Bring it. Come on. You promised the American people. Bring it. Don't screw around with this.
I'll be glad to speak to that.
Yeah. Do you have a vote, Mr. Bishop?
Yeah.
Okay, make the motion.
Here's
make
the
motion.
Here's the answer.
Make the motion.
No,
Come on.
You didn't ask me to make a motion. You asked me to explain when it would occur. You want me to answer you? Was it a question you want to answer?
You're a big man, right? You talk about impeaching the president. Bring the motion.
I'll be glad to answer your question if you want an answer.
Bring the motion.
You mean you don't want an answer?
Come on, Biggs, bring the motion. Stop wasting our time. You're wasting our time.
Here's the answer. As soon as they stop stonewalling the investigation, we can get to the next step.
You guys got nothing because Joe Biden has been acquitted. And this is just a pathetic postgame of a exercise that yielded nothing. You have a colleague right now who's trying to put the Attorney General in handcuffs with this Anna Paulina lunacy because she can't accept that the former president was arrested and convicted.
I love Eric Swalwell's new nickname for Anna Paulina Luna, a Republican from Florida. Anna Paulina Lunacy. Yes. And he calls out Congressman Dan Bishop and Andy Biggs. Where's your impeachment? Make it. Pull the trigger. You guys got nothing. I think it plays really well with the American people, and it shows Democrats fighting, so I'm here for it. Call these guys out right to their face every single time, and they have no response. They're just stunned, stammering, no idea what to say. I love it. Okay, next up, Adam Schiff, the main event. Nobody does it like Adam Schiff, and somehow, some way, he got under Jim Jordan's skin and drew him out for a debate. That is rare. Normally, Jim Jordan and the Republicans will ignore the Democrats, though you saw in that exchange, Eric Swalwell was able to expertly get a couple of them to respond. But Jim Jordan just couldn't resist, and Adam Schiff, the next senator from California, still has a little time left in the House, and he's using it to embarrass these Republicans every opportunity he gets.
Much as I don't like certain parts of the Mazur decision, it clearly applies in this case, and the committee is required to engage with the White House in order to seek an accommodation over materials held by a private party, as they were in the Mazur's case, and seek to resolve this with the White House. So I would ask unanimous consent that we enter into the record your correspondence to the White House.
Objection.
Seeking to engage them to resolve this. And I thank the chairman for not objecting. Can you produce that correspondence to the White House asking for accommodation on these materials you sought by this subpoena?
Adam Schiff is calling out the Republicans for not reaching out to the White House to try to get their permission to get their hands on those materials. Instead, Republicans have purposefully harassed this private citizen to try to make him bend to their will, but it's not going to work.
First time they reached out to us was 2 days ago.
Yes, and of course, the author expressed the concern that these materials may implicate interests of the executive. I think that was weeks ago. But having admitted without dissent your correspondence to the White House, can you produce that for us, where you have sought an accommodation, where you've sought to work this out with the White House? Can you share that with us, since that is now part of the record?
Well, I thought you had it. You wanted to enter into the record.
I do. I presume that, knowing your responsibilities, you have sought to engage the White House. So,
Mr. Chairman, point of
order.
Gentleman is
Produce
recognized for point of order.
I think a unanimous consent request to submit something to the record is where the person who's asking for the floor is the proponent of submitting information that member has. I don't believe it's appropriate to ask a unanimous consent request to engage in a colloquy over discovering information or obtaining information from another member of the committee.
Great, and that's why I said that no objection to the unanimous consent request. If the gentleman from California wants to talk about that and present it to us, God bless him. He's allowed to do it since 5 minutes.
I would like clarification from the chairman. Does this mean that there is no correspondence from you to the White House seeking accommodation on this material?
We've had all kinds of correspondence with the White House on this broad subject relative to the Zwanitzer and the letter we got 2 days ago. We've not corresponded with the White House yet. We may. That's a decision we'll make.
Look at that. Jim Jordan starting to get upset, feeling he needs to interject more and more. It's quite rare to see people engage in these back and forths during hearings. Usually it's the members' time for 5 minutes, and they'll just question the witnesses or make a statement. But to goad another member to engage with you, especially the chairman, Jim Jordan, that is a skill that only people like Adam Schiff have.
And you have not corresponded with the White House seeking accommodation ever since the author who you are subpoenaing and seeking to hold in contempt articulated the view that there was executive interest and potential privilege over this material? You haven't sought to engage over the weeks since you received that communication?
We have not engaged with the White House since the letter on the 25th of this month, 2 days ago.
And prior to that time, did you engage the White House in an effort to obtain these materials?
All kinds of engagements with our counsel and counsel, both
I'm talking about
the Justice Department and White House, with our counsel over the last several months relative to the special counsel
this subpoena,
report.
Mr. Chairman. Did you engage with the White House at any time in the last several weeks since issuing this subpoena, the one you want to hold this witness in contempt for? Did you ever engage with the White House in an effort to accommodate, an effort to reach an agreement, an effort to prevent this from having to be litigated?
Adam Schiff is grilling Jim Jordan like he's a witness in front of the committee. I've never seen anything like that before.
Did you ever write any correspondence, make any call to the White House seeking to engage, seeking to get these materials that you're seeking from the author instead from the White House? Did you ever do that, Mr. Chairman?
We're seeking documents from a private individual who, I might add, tried to destroy the evidence.
So I guess the question is, I guess the answer is no.
Since 2 days ago.
The answer is no.
The answer is since 2 days ago, I have not.
I'm not asking the question about since 2 days ago, although nothing prevented you.
That's when they first raised the concern.
Nothing prevented you from writing a letter within the last 2 days or reaching out to the White House before this.
Now you want me to be clairvoyant and read the White House's mind and write a letter before they tell us something?
Nothing prevented you from seeking these materials from the White House.
California is known
for months, Mr. Chairman. For months.
I'm not a mind reader.
And I thank you for making a very clean record for any court that will look at this.
The gentleman from North Carolina said
accommodation
months ago the White House could have raised the concern, and they didn't.
These documents.
That is going to upset Jim Jordan right there. Adam Schiff brilliantly pointing out that if this case were to make it to a court, a judge would throw it out instantly because you have not gone through the proper steps before getting to contempt of Congress. Contempt of Congress should be the final straw after trying to do everything to get your hands on documents or testimony. And Republicans know that. This is all for show to try to impress their base instead of doing actual work for the American people.
Because your first move, of course, is to go right to contempt. Ironically, of course, for a chairman who was in contempt of his own subpoena.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
We're still waiting for you to testify and meet the obligations of your own subpoena, Mr. Chairman. But nevertheless, I appreciate you're making such a clean record for any court in this case that you have never sought an accommodation, never written to the White House, never called the White House, never had a communication with the White House in order to obtain these materials as part of an accommodation. Thank you for that very clean record for the court, and I yield back.
That's why we love our Democrats. rock stars like Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell calling out these MAGA goons and getting right in their face and pointing out the flaws in their strategy. These Republicans in the 118th Congress have just embarrassed themselves over and over again. Their zombie investigation into Joe Biden has gone nowhere. The American people can see it for what it is, a total sham. And I can't wait for us to take back the House and get back to doing real business in the House of Representatives.